Hello, intrepid followers, subscribers, and watchers of my YouTube videos. It's time for another cosplay in the Geekfort. Today, I have with me Mike, a cosplayer who does some really amazing stuff. So, Mike, hello, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Joe?
Great. Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh no, I'm honored.
Cool. All right, well, let's get into it. So, what led you to start cosplaying?
Well, I'm gonna date myself because it really does go back to the late '90s. I was working for a T-shirt company, and one of my coworkers got together with friends, and they made movies like backyard movies and stuff. And I watched one of them, and it looked like so much fun that I'm like, hey, I'd love to be involved. And he goes, oh, well, we're going to make a sci-fi movie. And I was like, really? Do you need someone to make spaceships? And so I got involved with this production. It's called Clone Raiders. It's actually on YouTube. It's not very good. It won't make any sense, but it looks really good. And that was part of what I got involved with, was making props, making spaceships, making tanks, all out of toys and stuff, so we could do that. But I also helped make the costumes and stuff. Like it was a post-apocalyptic thing, and so we had to make soldier costumes and guns. So I got into making, painting Nerf launchers and making them look really cool and things like that. One of the scenes in it was this shanty town, post-apocalyptic shanty town. And basically, we invited all our friends to be characters and just think post-apocalyptic, Mad Max, come dressed up. We're not going to be too picky. Just look as cool as you can. And so I decided, well, I'm gonna make a costume for this too. So I found this old gas mask. It was missing a very old gas mask. It was missing the canister. I replaced it with a distributor cap. And I found this prehistoric camera lens that had a metal gear on it, and I screwed it into the lens of the gas mask and put a blinky light in it, a red blinky light. If you open the aperture just right, you can see the blinky light. And I made this crazy costume with it. It's a cloak. It's very kind of Doctor Doomish. I had a big hood and that crazy mask on, and my character. My friends thought it was so cool looking that we're actually going to make you a character. You're not going to be it. So I was Nordag the Lurker. And basically the two main protagonists are going through this shanty town, and I'm the guy following them around and in the shadows and stuff. The cool thing about that group is I've known them forever. We're really good friends, and they always had themed parties. So over the years, like there was one party, it's like 70s disco party, or one party everyone wore red, which was crazy. And they were having a Halloween party, and this was years later, and it was going to be heroes and villains. So I said, I'm going to be a superhero. And so that was the first time I made a superhero costume, was kind of with that group. Yeah, that character was just that one time. That's just the birth of cosplay for me.
Nice. So then, would you say that's your first cosplay then, or is that just the birth of you feeling like, wow, I really like doing this, I want to do more of it?
No, my first cosplay, I will say, was that superhero costume I made, which was a classic Captain Marvel. All the young viewers here will know him as Shazam, but I grew up with him being Captain Marvel. I just decided I'm going to be a superhero. What I loved about Captain Marvel in the 40s, his costume was a uniform. He wasn't a spandex superhero. He wore an actual uniform with a button-up jacket, and I said I could do that because I'm not Adonis or anything, but if you make a uniform well enough, it'll look good. So I went out and I bought two long sleeve red mock turtleneck shirts, and I cut the front off of one, and I made the flap, and I sewed it onto. And when I say I sewed, this is my skill at sewing, and that goes back to my army days where I had to sew my patches on my uniform. That's the only reason I know how to sew. I had a friend actually with this sewing machine actually helped me make the cape, which I still have today. When I went to that Halloween party, I met a friend. His name is Brandon Nichols, and he made an amazing Batman costume, and he and I became friends. So a few months later, this was spring of 2011, and he was on Facebook and he said, "Hey, does anybody want to go to Comic-Con this weekend?" I had never been, and I was like, I guess I got nothing going on. He goes, "Well, I'm going to wear my Batman costume." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So we went to Comic-Con. Now, I brought my Captain Marvel costume with me, but I didn't put it on. And his costume is so amazing. When he walked in the door, people were shocked to see him. Now, today you see costumes like that all the time because the whole cosplay has evolved so much. But back then, to see a costume like that was shocking. And he couldn't walk 3 feet without 10 people wanting his picture. So I was kind of like his roadie. He was kind of glad that I didn't dress up. But as the day went on, I was like, I'm gonna go. This is too much fun. Just the whole experience. I was like, look, I got no reason not to. I brought it. So I went out the parking garage. I'm in the car. I'm down in my boxer shorts and I'm changing into my costume. Here's a funny side note. There was a minivan parked right next, and this family came. And I'm sitting there in my boxer shorts with my cape thrown over my lap going, okay, anytime now. It took him like 10 minutes to load those kids and leave. I finished getting dressed, and I walked back to the convention. I walked in the door, and someone yelled Shazam, and I was hooked. That was it. Someone recognized me instantly, and I was hooked. And yeah, so that was, I would say, because I had never heard the term cosplay before until that convention. So that's why I say that one's really my first.
So you sent me some pictures of a Shazam cosplay. Is that the one you're talking about, or is it a different one?
So there's two different ones because I've redone that one.
Oh.
So like the triple click ones and the ones at Cinerama, that's my new costume. Same cape. That's my original cape. But it's totally new. I've had the jacket tailored for me, and I got a great tailor. She does an awesome job. But there's the older, kind of smaller, blurry pictures. There's a picture at Comic-Con, and I'm there with Batman, and I think there's a Power Girl there. It's an older photo. And I think I only had one, but that was the Comic-Con I went to where the first time.
So what would you say is your favorite cosplay that you've created?
I would say the Rocketeer. And that was a long one as well, but that's the one I'm most proud of because when I wear it, people are like, "You made that rocket pack?" And I'm like, "I did. I made it." And it's made out of ridiculous things too. I originally the first time I wore the Rocketeer, I made a really quick rocket pack. I had made a Peppercorn Rocketeer helmet out of paper, and I had a brown leather jacket. I originally made a quick rocket pack out of 2-liter bottles and it turned out pretty good. It worked for a quick Rocketeer thing, which I decided to do at the last minute. But being there, I had enough people go, Rocketeer, they recognize me, it's a very, it's not a mainstream character whatsoever. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do this right. So I bought myself a helmet online, which is something I always wanted to have. And when I got the helmet, I was like, nah, I have to go all out on the rocket pack. So the hardest part of the rocket pack is the top, that shape, the bullet nose at the top of those two cylinders. And one of my coworkers, he said, I know what you could use. So the very top of them are foam crab buoys, something you would use for crabbing, but they were the perfect shape. And then the rest of the cylinders is made out of plastic garage sale signs that I wrapped around and glued. And I mean, it's made out of garage sale sign plastic and PVC foam and a plastic bowl, potato chip cans, toilet plungers, and hundreds of googly eyes, which are the rivets. Hundreds of them. Once painted, they look great. So if anybody needs to make a costume with rivets, googly eyes.
I'm looking at the picture now, and I never really realized those are, yeah. Oh my goodness, all those googly eyes. So you're walking around with these googly eyes that are painted over, and they're just all shaking in there as you're like, I can't.
If you shake it and rattle, it just rattles. Yeah.
I will never be able to look at that cosplay the same way now, because I now know.
It's hours of watching TV and gluing googly eyes on one at a time, and there's hundreds of them on there.
Oh my gosh!
But that one's probably one of my favorites because I'm so proud of how it turned out. That rocket pack hangs on my living room wall. I'm really proud of how it turned out. And I recently, because also when I did that, to get an actual Rocketeer rocket pack would have cost $2,000 to $3,000. They sold
what?
Kits.
Yeah, 2,000 to 3,000.
Yeah, they sold kits for them.
Wow.
And so I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And so I built my own. But every time I take it off the wall, I'm like, please don't break, because it's like 10 years old now. So last year I bought because now there's so many people who do 3D outputs and stuff. So I bought a kit, and it's really good. It's over there, and I need to sand to get it, because I have an amazing friend who's going to help me paint it. Eric Jones, Core Geek, is going to paint it for me. But I have to, the prep work has got to be perfect. So, but that'll be nice because I can leave my work of art on the wall, and the new one will be much lighter. Because the one I built's not exactly light, but so it'll be a lot lighter. It'll be a lot more accurate and things like that. And I will again chew my own gum and stick it to the back.
I always forget about that moment.
I've had people.
That's great.
I've had people try to take it off of this rocket pack, and I'm like, no, it's supposed to be there. Like, someone stuck gum to it. I'm like, it's supposed to be there. Yes. Don't take it off.
Someone stuck gum there for a reason.
And it's actually gum. I chewed it and stuck it, and it's been on there for years.
I mean, that's, if you got to chew gum and put gum on it, you might as well go with the real thing instead of fake, right?
Yeah. So, I'm very proud of the rocket pack. It was a great one.
Cool. So what would you say has been your most ambitious cosplay that you've created?
Well, that rocket pack is one. I spent a good 6 months figuring out how to put that thing together. But I would say my Cylon armor, which I have not, well, I kind of have worn before. So that all started years ago. I was just searching online, and I own a lot of helmets. I got a Darth Vader helmet. I got a Stormtrooper helmet. I love sci-fi helmets. And I was like, God, it'd be cool to have a Cylon helmet, a classic Battlestar Galactica Cylon. And I found a post that said $10 Cylon helmet. And I'm like, what? So I went to the site, and someone had made papercraft Pepakura templates for the Cylon helmet, and they had pictures of it. And I was like, wow, that's impressive. And it was made out of silver poster board. So I instantly downloaded that and built that helmet out of silver poster board. Cost me less than $10 to make, and it turned out amazing. And and then I was so enamored with that whole process that I went and I found the Rocketeer helmet template, which is a really simple one, and then I made my first paper Rocketeer helmet. But by the time I got the Cylon helmet done, I saw that the guy who had the post had now made the collar and backpack templates. So I just kept going. And I made this entire paper Cylon costume. And I had a red blinky light and everything. And I had that for years. Now the problem with a paper costume, you can wear it for about an hour and then you're destroying it. And I wore that costume to Comic-Con twice on 2 different years. And it was always a big hit, and people would come up and they go, "Oh my God, that's made out of paper." But I knew the last time I wore it, I go, I got to retire this because it's just falling apart. I met someone at Comic-Con. Her name is Emily, and she's a great cosplayer. She's a lot of fun. And I was at Rose City Comic-Con. It was 2019. And she said, "I'm making a Cylon costume." I'm like, "You're making a Cylon costume?" She made a new Cylon, the reboot. And she was madly trying to get it done in time. And she texted me, she said, "I'm here, I got my Cylon." And I was so excited. We actually met at the Triple Click booth. And she just looked amazing. Emily's a very tall girl anyways, but she had these platform shoes she had made for it. She was like 7 feet tall in this costume. And I was blown away. And I was wearing my new Captain Marvel costume when I saw her. And I said, I made a Cylon costume because I was just blown away by how it looked. And she goes, "Oh, we need to do a photo shoot." And I'm like, my Cylon costume's not alive anymore. So last year I decided I'm going to remake this costume. Now, when COVID hit, I got put on furlough from work, and so I had nothing to do. So I was like, all right, I'm going to start this. And so I started building it out of foam because that's what Emily had built hers out of. And I had built a few other things using foam, and realized I could do it. So I got the original template I used for paper, and I quickly put together another Cylon helmet. And I did it quickly because I didn't know there's a difference. You got paper and you got 8mm thick foam. So you have to do some engineering. So I made this helmet with the foam and I looked at it and I go, that'll work. I can do that. With the knowledge that I was going to make another helmet. So I spent 2 months this was my job for a couple of months, and I made this Cylon armor. And now the original Battlestar Galactica, they kind of, you could tell when they ran out of money because the armor, the legs of the Cylon they were kind of, So my Cylon is definitely, it's uniquely my own version. The shoulder pads are different. The chest piece is much larger. And the leg armor is completely different. I used my friend Brandon's templates that he had used for his Batman costume, and I made him into Cylon armor legs. And I've gotten a lot of compliments on that because it looks more fully robot. But I forked out the money to buy the light, and I figured out how to do the sound. The sound's actually fun. I found on YouTube someone had made 9 hours of Cylon noise. That woo 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 woo. 9 hours. They were thinking the same thing as I was. So I got a Bluetooth speaker. I mounted it into the chest piece, the chest armor. I pull up that 9 hours of YouTube and I broadcast it over. So I carry the phone in my pocket. So I'm anxious to wear that to a con. That's definitely. So I would say that is definitely my most ambitious. I'm really excited to wear that to a con.
Cool. Yeah, it looks good. I like the pictures you sent of how you built it and stuff. So what was like for you when it came from like making something from paper to making something from foam? You said it was a lot more construction engineering. Was that what made it so ambitious? Was it the fact that you had to you had the templates to make them out of both, but like what do you mean? Can you explain more about the engineering part of it?
Yeah, well, a lot of it is I had made it out of paper before, so I knew I could make it. But again, it was the thickness of the foam, and then still, uh, I had made some helmets, but to do full armor is a totally different thing. You know, you have to figure out how am I going to strap this piece to my arm, and how how are these pieces going to go together, because they're not really meant to go together, but I need to put them together. And then the leg armor, um, and it's so many pieces, just so many pieces. You know, you lay out that foam and I've got 27 pieces here that have all got to fit together like a puzzle. So again, it was good that I had made it out of paper, but doing it out of foam, you got to know how to glue the foam together, and there's definitely mistakes that I made where I had to, I got to rip it apart and do it differently. And then some of the templates didn't quite work the way they should have, so I had to make filler pieces and things like that. So I was actually glad that I wasn't working at the time, because I don't think I would have gotten it done. It's a lot of prep work, which I didn't have to do with the paper one, because the paper one was silver poster board. So it's a lot of prep work, a lot of sanding, a lot of plastic coating, and then figuring out how am I going to make this silver, the silver I want it to be. Now the original Cylons are chrome, and I wasn't going to go that far. I wanted it to be kind of like a beat up, you know, look like it had been beat up and all that. And so I ended up using silver rub and buff, which is basically like a paste. So that entire thing, I had to rub that silver onto the surface of the whole thing. After that, I took graphite powder and buffed that on top of it, and that gave it a definite shine. The only problem with it is it's not waterproof. So if I took it out and I got rained on, I'd probably have to refinish it. Yeah, because if you clear coat that, it takes all the shine away. And I'm sure there's other ways that I could do it, but I'm kind of like, geez, do I want to re-prep the whole thing? And it looks great the way it is now. So,
So then you were talking about some products. So what would you say has been one of your favorite products to use for cosplay?
the foam, I'm just sold. You can make anything out of foam. And if you look at the cosplayers online and stuff, Evil Ted, if you know who Evil Ted is, he's a foam builder, and I watched what he was doing to learn a lot of what I did. He's got a Facebook site called Evil Ted's Foam Fanatics, and people are always posting things there. I posted my entire Cylon build on that site. So I get my foam from TNT Cosplay Supply, and they sell tons of stuff there. I get all my foam. You get rolls of foam for $17. It's very cheap, and it's delivered within days. They're a company in Texas, I think, and I learned about them through Evil Ted's channel. There's these great products by Prop Monkey Studios, and this is what I use to uh, make the surface of the armor less porous.
Yeah.
So this is rapid fill, which you basically brush over the entire surface, let it dry, and then you can sand it smooth. And that fills in the porous surface. This is fine finish, and you basically, after you do the rapid fill, you put this on, and this is it's basically the same stuff, but it's much thinner, and you can really sand this nice and smooth. And then from there, I would coat the armor with Plasti Dip, which is basically like a spray-on rubber bed liner for trucks. And it gives you something that you can really prime and paint from there. And then he came out to Prop Monkey Studios came out with this, is the newest one, which is called Gap Filla. And so when you're making your armor and stuff, and you're putting the pieces together, you're always going to have a seam. And this is like, it's like a foam paste, and you can fill in those things and sand it right along with the foam. So those are great products, and I got them all from TNT Cosplay Supply. And most of the things that I've done aren't. I'm not one to make my own templates. I kind of look and go, "Ooh, someone else has already done that," because I'm just not analytical enough, But I'm artistic enough to say, "Oh, I see how that works, and I can put it together myself." So yeah, utilize
Cool.
what other people have done.
Yeah, I think it's great that there are people that are willing to put out templates out there, because then you're not looking at it going, who made that shape and why is it like that and how can I make that shape? You have someone who's already
Yeah.
done it, and you can just like follow the template to the best of your ability. So I think that's really great too.
Well, yeah, when I was building the Cylon, I posted, they were like, "Where did you get the templates?" And I go, "Bing!" I just put the link. I go get it, make it yourself. It's fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So talking about creating, let's talk about the negative side of it. When you hit an obstacle to creating, what helps you get out of that obstacle or that wall that you hit when you're creating and you can't feel motivation? What helps you get back into motivating to do something?
Well, when it's probably just walking away from it for a while. Just say, you know what, I'm gonna walk away from it for a few days, think about it, work on another part of it or something like that. That, especially when it comes to such a big build, if you're doing a big foam build or something like that, there's always other pieces, So that's a good way. You step away from one and then you come back to it later, and you'll go, because for me, I'll be thinking about it and I go, how can I make this work? How am I going to make it work? And after a few days, I go, I got a plan. So, sometimes last minute innovation can be brilliant too. If you're going in that mad con crush last minute, got to get this done, you come up with amazing ideas. But I always try to have my stuff done way beforehand. And if it's not ready, then I don't take it to con. I have enough costumes that it's like, I can use that for another one. But yeah, I would say step away from it and think about it. Don't stress about it, and then come back to it. Yeah, that's kind of what led to my Centurion Fett costume.
Tell us more about Centurion Fett.
Okay, well, I told you I made a quick Cylon helmet with the knowledge I was going to make a second one. And at one point, I had run out of prep supplies. I didn't have silver paint. I didn't have the things I needed. So I was at a dead end. And I looked over at all of my pieces laying over here, laid out and ready to go, but I couldn't do anything. I was waiting for more foam. And there was that quickly put together helmet. And I was like, I'm going to paint that. I'm going to paint that like Boba Fett. And I painted that whole thing with a brush. No spray paint. I just sat and and it turned out so good that I knew, well, I'm gonna have to make the rest of that costume. And that particular one it's a Cylon helmet, it's Cylon gauntlets, it's a Mandalorian chest piece, but it's not exactly, it's kind of a variant. The shoulder pads are variant Mandalorian. The the shin pieces are the same that I made the Cylon out of. It's very unique. It's not anything that the knee pads are Boba Fett, and the cod piece is very Boba Fett. And one of the things from that sci-fi movie I made years ago, I had made a rocket pack, and I've had it all these years, and I've used it for some other things, but it's perfect for that costume. And what I like about it is it's uniquely mine. There's not, you can look at it and know what it is, but there's nothing specific. It's just a mismatch of everything, and it turned out really fun. And I'm actually going to be doing a photo shoot next month at Georgetown Steam Plant with Left Coast Avenger. So it's me in that, and him and his Boba Fett. So that's so I'm looking forward to that. Plus, we did the photo shoot. We did. There's the Book of Boba Fett, and there's a great shot with Boba in the throne with Fennec there with the gun. Well, we knocked that off. I'm wearing my Centurion Fett, and my friend Emily is dressed as Six. And I photoshopped us into the throne, and she's sitting on the side with the gun there, and it really and we called it the Chronicles of Centurion Fett. So, and that was a very fun photo shoot. So that's online if people want to see it.
Cool.
It's really fun. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Nice. So is there a cosplay you're working on right now that you could tell us about?
Not right now. Although I made something. I actually have it right here. Because this has been sitting there. And this one rattles as well. Googly Eyes. So I made a Doom mask. Mm-hmm. So I want to take this farther and make an actual Doctor Doom costume. This will probably be my next, and this is made out of foam as well.
Cool, that's excellent. I know a few other cosplayers that have made some different versions of Doom, but
yeah,
that's a great way to start, like making one part and then seeing if you can do the rest of it. So I look forward to one day seeing that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I figure, Rose City Comic Con next fall or something, I would hopefully have something like that done.
Cool.
And I have a great tailor who she's agreed to make the whole costume,
the cape and cowl and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'd really like to talk about her a little bit if I can.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, tell us more.
So her name's Australia Kincannon. She's part of our charity group.
Oh yeah, I've met her. She's great. Yes,
and she's an amazing. She makes foam animal suits and stuff. She's just brilliant at it. And I had my World War II Captain America costume, which I bought that jacket online, and I totally loved it, but it was too big for me. I've lost weight, and it was always big and baggy. And I asked her, I said, do you think you could make me a new Captain America jacket? And I knew what I wanted. I knew what kind of material I wanted. She's like, yeah. I said, can you tailor it so I look good? And she's like, yeah. So she made me a new World War II Captain America jacket, which is very retro with the button flap and everything. And it just turned out great. And I always love wearing that to Comic-Con. I have the old Army helmet that's painted blue with the A on it, and it's very retro, and it's uniquely me. And I've tried to do that with all my costumes. It's like there's people who will ask, well, what's that from? And I go, it's just my interpretation. And so after she made that, I was like, do you think you could make me a Captain Marvel jacket? You use the same template. And she's like, yep. And so she made me my new Shazam costume. And again, it's tailor made to me. It fits so well. And what I love about that whole template is I could do just about anything with it. And so then she goes, okay, what's next? Because I could tell she was kind of she she uh she kind of forced my last one, which is I was like, okay, well, if I was gonna do one, I would do Superman. So she made my Superman jacket, and I absolutely and the cape is so cool. If you've never walked around with a cape like that, like, Captain Marvel's cape is it's a draping cape that goes over the right shoulder, but it doesn't flow when you walk. And now I get why Batman loves to twirl when he has the cape on. uh, and it's very retro. It's a jacket. I did the button flap on this side. The S is George Reeves S from the 1950s Adventures of Superman. I wanted it to have that old feel, and I've worn that to a couple things, and people ask me, it's like, well, what's that from? And I go, this is my version. Um, so yeah, I like to kind of coin the phrase uniquely me, because like my Golden Age Flash isn't based on anything. My Captain America is not based off of anything. Uh, the closest thing that's based off of anything is probably my Shazam Captain Marvel is pretty true. But that Superman is not based off of anything. And boy, I tell you, when you're dressed as Superman, the kids, especially when you're standing right next to Batman, it's kind of magical. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, so that's my newest one, is that Superman. But having Australia as a tailor, because she's like, well, what's next? And I'm like, I don't know. I have so many costumes. She goes, you should do Batman. And I'm like, oh no. So
You could have your own Justice League of
I know,
costumes.
because I got the Flash, I got Captain Marvel, I got Superman. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, but
Oh my gosh, that's great.
it really pays to have someone like that in your corner. So many of my costumes are have come from other people helping me. Um, you know, so yeah, I just so many of my costumes are that way, and I don't want to be I don't want to be like anybody else. I want people to know it's like, okay, that's Superman, but wow, that's a really interesting interpretation. And I think most of my costumes are that way. Even my Cylon armor, someone's going to look at it and go, wait a minute, there's something different about that. And so I always want to do that with my costumes.
Cool. That's awesome. So let's talk then about cons in general. What has been your favorite con that you've been to?
Love Rose City. The first few years I went to Emerald City, I really enjoyed, but it grew so big so fast. And I love going to Emerald City because of the costume characters for causes booth that we do. So we spent a lot of time there, donating my time and stuff there. And that makes it worth it, because you can go there. It's a place to camp, and then you could go enjoy the con for an hour or so and come back. Um, but Rose City is small enough that it's not insane. and that's what I like about it. I can go there and just enjoy the con, and so yeah, I would definitely say Rose City Comic Con is great.
Yeah, I enjoy that con too. It's really fun to go to. Yeah, cool. So what would you say then is a con you would love to attend that you've never attended?
I would say Dragon Con, only because when people talk about it, they're just like, and you could see the magic that it holds for them. Um, so someday I will probably go to Dragon Con. I have no desire to go to San Diego Comic Con because I think we have it in a small, not in Emerald City. It's the same but even bigger. So I don't really feel a need to go there. But Dragon Con sounds like a lot of fun because it seems very magical to people who attend it. Um, the other little one that I totally want to go in is it's I want to go to Metropolis, Illinois. They have the Superman celebration there, and I wanted to do that this year with my new Superman costume, but it just didn't work out. But I'm planning on it's in June, early June of next year, so I'm at Metropolis, Illinois. It's in the middle of nowhere. I was even trying. How do I even get there? But it's all about Superman, and so I'm gonna do that next year.
Wow, that sounds like a cool idea. I've heard of someone telling me about that place before. So I think that's a really cool idea to be able to go there. Even if like you go and there's no event going on, it would still be fun because I think they have like a statue though too.
They
So
have a
like,
statue and a museum.
yeah, I think that would be just doing it just for that, whether they're having the thing going on, event at art or not, would be really fun, sounds like.
Yeah, it's specifically Superman, and they have so many people dress up as Superman, and so I think it would be a lot of fun to go there in my retro Superman because people in the know they're gonna recognize the S right away, but then they're gonna go, yeah.
Cool. That's really cool that you're able to do that. So what would you say then is some advice you want to give a cosplayer or someone who wants to cosplay about cosplaying?
Well, again, I think I've talked about being uniquely me with my costumes. Um, when you first start out, especially, you'll have this grand plan and everything. I guarantee your first time it's never going to be the way you want it. That's okay. Um, I would say that just let it be a learning thing. Let it be what it is. Do your best you can because the next time you do it, if you scrap it and do it again, it's going to be that much better. Um, and yeah, don't worry if it's not perfect because there are a ton of other people going to be at the con who are going to have the same insecurities. They're going to be walking around in amazing costumes and thinking, this sucks. And chances are that's probably going to be your costume as well. You're going to go, oh, I hope they don't notice this, and nobody's going to notice it. Batman and Matt Payton and I were at Rose City. It was a Sunday. We were tired, our feet hurt. It's like, oh, we're wrapping it up. And we ran across another great cosplayer, Tina Rivets. We could tell she was dragging too, and we kind of drug ourselves over to her. We hadn't seen her at all, so we were excited to see her. And we're like, "How you doing?" She says, "Oh, I'm dragging," and we were all just drained, And she go, and what I'll never forget this, and I always say this to people now. It's like, but just remember, we do this because we love it, and it's like you are so right. So remember that when you're cosplaying, you do it because you love it. So make sure you're having fun. If you're not having fun, then you need to reevaluate why you're doing it and maybe figure out why you're not having fun and then go in that direction. So that's the biggest thing about cosplay is have fun.
Cool. That's a great way of thinking about it, is just having fun. I love that. That's great advice. Cool. Well, thanks for sharing all this great information and sharing about why you cosplay and being yourself and being unique. I love that. That's a great idea. So let's talk about one last thing. What is a charity or organization that's doing good in the world right now that you'd like people to know about?
I would say the Good Times Project. So in going to the con, so many of my friends that I've met, I met through a group called Costume Characters for Causes, and we set up a photo booth at the con, and we basically we're all cosplaying, and we have a great group of people that show up, and then we take free photos, post them online, but we have a box on the table to take donations for the Good Times Project. And what the Good Times Project does is they do summer camps for kids with cancer. And it's really amazing thing. I've gone to the camp a few times, and it's a chance for the kids to be kids. They have medical staff there in case anything happens, and it's a they're there with other kids going through the same thing, so they have common friends and stuff like that, and it's also a chance for the families to get a break from the what can be the tedium of treatment and stuff like that. So it's also for them. It's really a unique, cool organization, and so Costume Characters for Causes has done that with them for years, and we just did an event for the Sarcoma Foundation, so it's more cancer research. We did that a few weeks ago. So I have a friend who's battling cancer right now, and so it's things like that are pretty near and dear to me to see cures become done. So yeah, Good Times Project is a great organization.
Cool, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, Drake Handler Cosplay, she talked about that as well, and it sounds like a great project. And I think it's also great that a group of cosplayers have come together to not just hang out and be cosplayers, but also raise awareness and help fund this organization that's trying to help kids. So I think it's great that you've combined your love of cosplay with a charity and being able to do that at a con, because there's so many people that show up to cons, whether they're in cosplay or not, and you have a chance to like bring awareness and then also help out a charity by being a charity yourself. So I think it's really great that you guys have created an organization to help other organizations. Well, I'll put links to both those organizations in the description as well. So now let's talk about you. If someone wanted to learn more about your cosplay and see what you're doing, is there anyone on social media where they can find you?
Yeah, so I'm mainly on Instagram. It's MK Martini on Instagram. And it's not specifically cosplay. I also do artwork, and I take pictures of my motorcycle, and it's kind of where I dump things. But if you scroll through it, you're gonna see all my cosplay there.
Thanks again for sharing your cosplays, and everyone out there, if you're watching this and you really liked what we talked about today, remember to give this video a like and comment in the section down below what you liked. What was your favorite cosplay that Mike has done? And if you're making a cosplay or thinking about making a cosplay, tell us what kind of cosplay you're making. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel where you'll see more cosplay Geekfort videos and a lot of other stuff about comic books and comic book conventions that are coming up soon. And thanks again, Mike, for coming and sharing with us.
Oh, this was fun. It was good to talk to you.
You too. And everyone, remember, cosplay is for everyone. Bye.